feminism is among the most widely discussed components of modern society. But what is it really? Today, we will be dissecting feminism as well as going through its different types. Feminism as an ideology is characterized by two main beliefs. Women are disadvantaged because of their gender, and that this disadvantage could easily be overthrown. Thus, feminists focused on the political relationship between the sexes, the supremacy of men, and the subjugation of women in practically all societies. In short, the patriarchic nature of civilizations over the ages has constantly been highlighted. One of feminism's features, which aren't as focused on as the aforementioned ones, is its revolutionizing of what is considered political. In the past, political matters were anything considered public: government institutions, political parties, and public debate. Personal relationships and family life were all considered part of one's private life, and were thus non-political. From an academic point of view, feminists have redefined politics to include all aspects of society which have social conflict, which includes one's private life. Furthermore, feminists also believe that males have historically been implemented into the political, public side of society. On the other hand, women are more associated with the non-political, private side of society, effectively giving them no political importance. Subsequently, this sexist and patriarchic oppression has defined feminism as the movement against those very values. Different forms of feminism, however, respond differently to this oppression. Let's start with traditional feminist theories. They include liberal feminism, socialist feminism, and radical feminism. Liberalism has deeply influenced feminism from its very start. Its heavy emphasis on how imperative it is for women to be viewed as rational creatures with their own individuality who deserve the same rights as men. With that said, it's clear to see that the key element of liberalist feminism is individualism. People are entitled to equal treatment regardless of their gender, color, race, or religion. Liberalist feminists also accept that females have different inclinations and natures than men. On the other hand, social feminism believes that the relationship between the sexes is rooted in the social and economic structure of our society. Influential socialist philosopher Friedrich Engels believed that the power of women in society greatly changed with the introduction of capitalism. Engels explains that before capitalism, family life had been communistic, with the woman's rights to inherit private property through her own family line preserved. A mother right, if you will. The capitalist society, however, based ownership of private property exclusively to men and through their lineage. To socialist feminists, the patriarchal character of the system bred in men their superiority over women at the time. Radical feminism's central concept is that sexual oppression is the most pressing issue of our society, more important than class exploitation, racial hatred, to name a couple. Followers of this ideology believe society as a whole is patriarchic, pervading culture, religion, and morality. They believe that females have been conditioned to have a passive sexual role, suppressing all aspects of women entirely. Some radical feminists believe that this patriarchy arises from within the male sex as a whole. Males are psychologically and physically disposed to oppress all women. Through physical and sexual abuse, women are kept in a state of fear of men, leading to the formation of the patriarchic society. However, starting from the 1990s, as feminism's initial goal to grant women the right to suffrage got achieved, totally different forms of feminism came to be, which circulated around two topics: gender and sexuality. These modern iterations of feminism are third-wave thinking, trans theory, as well as queer theory. Third-wave thinking heavily prioritized difference politics. Not only did it believe women had differences from men that they must enjoy, as radical feminism said, but that women themselves had many differences amongst themselves. It aimed to be all-inclusive, featuring intersectionality. Women's identities aren't just formed by their genders, but by their race, social class, ethnicity, religion, and sexual orientation. This helped unify greater causes under the feminist flag, allowing women of color, women of low income, and LGBTIQ people to be heard more effectively. Thus, sexism became interlocked with other societal issues such as racism, homophobia, and so on. On the other hand, trans theorists totally reject the binary conception of gender. They believe we are gender non-conforming. People are neither men nor women. Gender isn't something determined at birth, but instead what your self-identity is. People are whatever gender they want to be based on their inner consciousness. To this day, some feminists still oppose this theory. They believe that if anyone who self-identifies as a woman is a woman, this could allow male-bodied people to infiltrate women's spaces, threatening to erode women's identities. Finally, we have queer theory, which insinuates that sexuality is not fixed, and is instead something that is fluid and ever-changing. Heteronormativity, viewing heterosexuality as the norm, is subsequently heavily opposed. Queer theorists believe the traditional ideas on gender and sexuality arise from our social practices and not necessarily one's identity. Interestingly, this ideology has slowly but surely evolved from an underling of feminism into its own ideology due to its perceived importance. Having said all that, what do you think of feminism?